Ladies and gentlemen, please take your seats.
You know, it's those times in life when you try to quantify the unquantifiable, and it feels like the theme for our show, but you know what? If you're within the sound of my voice, guess what? You are in the seats with once more. As always, my name is Dave Voigt, and I'm the host of this podcast where we sit down with a wide-ranging variety of entertainment industry professionals, and we pick their brain about current projects, state of the industry, how they got started, and so very much more, in a light and in a conversational fashion. And you know, if you like how we do things around here, I'm going to go out on a limb and assume that you do, because let's face it, you're listening right now. And if you are, subscribe. Hit that subscribe button. Give us your 5-star rating on your podcast provider of choice. We're available pretty much everywhere. Places like Apple, Amazon, Spotify, Google. And plus, we archive every single one of our episodes over at our In the Seats YouTube channel. So if you can give us a like and subscribe there as well, we would absolutely appreciate it. Also, don't hesitate to check us out on social media. We're on the Facebook, the Twitter, the Instagram, the Letterboxd, the TikTok, and well, probably a few other places too, at In the Seats for all sorts of fun updates. And finally, and I do dare say most importantly, please pay us a visit over at In the Seats, intheseats.ca for all the latest and greatest from the world of film, television, basically the moving image at large. Because guess what? If we love to watch it and write about it and talk about it, we love it even more when you come by and read about it and listen about it. So do us that kindness and please pay us a visit. On this episode, we're going back to the Toronto International Film Festival with a movie that is hitting limited theatrical run and launching on Apple TV+. Well, today, right now. It's called Fingernails from director Christos Nikou, and it stars Jessie Buckley and Riz Ahmed and Jeremy Allen White. It's an interesting little piece. It's the story of Anna and Ryan who have found true love, and it's been proven by this controversial new technology that is taking the guesswork out of love and putting it all together. And it's people are a little weirded out about it, but they're going with it because, you know, at their heart of hearts, everyone's lonely, you know. But Anna's not sure, and then she takes a position at this new institute, and then she meets Amir, and then things get complicated. It's a love story. There's allegory to it. There's a little bit of sci-fi. It's a fascinating kind of piece, and it was shot, most of it anyway, was shot here in Toronto in our own backyard. And at the festival, we had the unique pleasure of sitting down and talking with director Christos Nikou. If you don't know that name, you might. There was a movie that came out a couple years back. What was it called? Apples. It was a really, really interesting film. It was one of those ones that came out during the pandemic that, you probably took a flyer on. But it was a darn good movie, and he follows it up here with Fingernails. And again, this is the kind of movie that's for people that that are going to want to think and going to want to talk about things and really sort of play with ideas. And I mean, this guy has a really fantastic pedigree. I mean, he got to work with Richard Linklater on Before Midnight. I mean, if there's any films that talk about sort of the complexities of love, it's the Before series. That's for darn sure. But again, this is one of those films you should check out. And this is one of those films, which is why I think Apple TV Plus is one of the better streaming services out there, because they're not afraid to really put out some interesting stuff. And this film certainly qualifies. Like I said, you can go check it out in theaters, limited theaters today, or if you have Apple TV Plus, just fire it up right now. But first, enjoy our talk with Christos, because between you and me, it's a darn good one. But I mean, just to kick things off officially, I just want to say thank you so much for the time today. I really do appreciate this. And congratulations on the movie.
Thank you so much.
Now, I guess my first question is, walk me through the origin of the story, because at least for me as a fan, whenever I watch sort of that near future, that thing that's almost here, I get more weirded out. I get more terrified than if it was spaceships or monsters or anything crazy like that. What was the initial idea for this film? Where did the ball start rolling for you?
First of all, I always believe. I mean, because I'm trying to create worlds in a way, but I'm not trying them to create in the near future. Maybe more in the near past in a way, which is because I believe also that somehow our. I mean, in order to tell a story like this, you need a conceptual story. It's very easy to say it in a futuristic way.
Yeah.
But it's much more powerful, I think, when you're making it grounded. You're making
Yes.
it very close to the real world by changing only one small condition, one small rule in this world, and make a comment about our society, because it's an allegory. It's not actually science fiction for me. It's more, I would call it more an allegory.
That's fair. No, that is completely
A
fair.
romantic
Yeah.
allegory and not a romantic science fiction movie. And the idea came to me when I was trying to understand what is love, and I was trying to understand why I cannot fall in love, and I was trying to understand why love is so difficult in our lives right now. And I was seeing around me people that I have never used dating apps, I don't have social media, but I was seeing people using dating apps, swapping with their fingers or our nails in order to find love. So they are only using their fingers in order to find an answer about who is the perfect couple for them.
Yeah.
And that's how the idea came.
I mean, that idea of swiping to quantify the unquantifiable is inherently ridiculous, but it's so fascinating at the same time because it's something so many people do. And I mean, it almost feels, I mean, to a degree, it's kind of funny that you shot this on 35 when it's dealing with issues that,
are on our cell phones.
Yeah, exactly. And I mean, it's one of those things where even in watching it, it felt like if you had shot this digitally, it would have felt like a different movie. How important was it for you to actually shoot this on film and give it that more tactile sensation?
We wanted to, I mean, in general, the whole movie, we created something a little bit more timeless.
Yeah.
We created something a little bit more analog.
Yes.
So for me, it was very important to shoot it on 35 and to give that feeling that it's a movie that maybe somebody shot in 90s. And it was a prophecy about our life right now, but they shot it on 90s, and it's like how Truman Show, for example, how you are seeing Truman Show right now.
Yeah.
That it's a movie from 1998, but it's an amazing prophecy about what we're living right now. So that's what we were trying to create a movie that looks a little bit more, has the look of a 90s movie or timeless movie, that it's, I mean, because the last reference in the film is from 1998, I think it's Notting Hill, when they're watching in the cinema the Hugh Grant movie, and in general, Hugh Grant is the only guy in the world who knows what is love. So we try to play with all this. I mean, in general, we try to create a playful world, but in an analog way, and I think that the 35 was very, very important.
Well, and I love that you say that too, like just sort of making something that'll be timeless, because we can watch so many different films and TV shows and feel like they're of an era. But it's the ones that don't feel like they're of an era that sustain and last. And I mean, for you as an artist, has that always been, I mean, I don't want to say the driving goal, but I mean, one of those things that's always in the back of your mind? Like, I can't make this of a moment, I have to make this universal?
Yes, I'm always saying, even when it's funny, I will say something to you right now that it's not exactly, but when, for example, even we're discussing about, for the poster of the film, and we're discussing, okay, Jeremy at the moment is the hottest actor in, and I'm saying that this movie will exist forever. And that's what we have to think, that we're not making something only for right now, but we have to think how we're making something that will exist forever. And it is forever. Movies are forever. I mean, we're watching movies from 30s and 40s.
Of course,
we love them so much.
Of course,
we discover movies that nobody has discovered on their time, right now. So I think that, and I hope that cinema will exist 50 years from now, and people will start discovering all these films, and will be like that,
Well, no, and I'm with you on that, absolutely. And I mean, it's one of those things where, especially in a story like this, you've got to have the right casting. And I mean, like having Riz and having Jessie, there is such a unique dynamic there. And I mean, I've got to imagine for you, especially early on, I'm sure you were sweating and painting over trying to find the right people for the right parts.
It was really great, first of all, to work with them, because Riz and Jessie are two of my favorite actors, and it was when I made them the offer, they said yes. I was like, okay,
Yeah.
yes, we are good. We will try to make a great film now. So, and then the tricky thing was by having these two very strong characters, how we will have found another one that will play the third person in this relationship in a way, which is, and we didn't want to find somebody that was making the bad and the good guy, so it will make it very easy, but something that will make it more complex, because love is complex and our decisions are always about this. So, and Jeremy for me was the perfect option for that.
No, for sure, for sure. No, I mean, I'm curious because, I mean, obviously you're a filmmaker who hasn't come out of the Hollywood sort of scene, quote unquote, but this is the first time also you're working in English, if I'm correct, right? And this is one of those things that I'm always kind of wild about. The more I see of like the streaming boom and just the way theaters are going and the way people are starting to consume cinema, you know, hopefully on the big screen, but I mean, even if you've got to watch it at home on your 40-inch or 50-inch, it's the spirit of cinema is still there. And I mean, I'm kind of curious, has your approach to the job changed, the way you make films, seeing how the world is kind of consuming them now? Because at least from a North American standpoint, there is more of an openness to voices and storytellers from all across the world, no matter what language they're working in.
I am trying to stay very loyal to what I always had in my mind about this, to be honest, because if I will think how people are consuming these things and
Right.
how in Greece, for example, when you are getting into the tube,
Yeah,
most of the people are watching on their cell phones,
yeah,
TV series, TV shows,
yeah.
and they don't even, because they're using subtitles, they don't even have a sound. They're just reading the subtitles.
Right, right.
And when you think that you're creating something on 35 millimeter and the other person will watch it there,
Oh,
you feel
God.
that, you feel that, okay, we're fucked up. I mean, that's not cinema. But for me, cinema is pay attention and being, it's something like really magical. It's when I am in a theater, I just want to, you know, to follow the journey of the whole film, to just be there, be fascinated, feel with all my emotions, everything, and just forget everything about life and just be there. And that's what I hope that movies will continue making to the audience. And I hope that people will return to cinemas, they will start watching again movies in theaters. It goes great with Barbie and Oppenheimer this summer. We saw how after the pandemic, cinemas can still survive.
It can happen, yeah,
It
absolutely.
can happen. So we just need good movies. We need good auteurs. We need good stories. We need different stories. We don't need generic basic things, and we need unusual and unique stuff to make the audience follow them.
People are willing to make that investment if you give them the right material. No, I 100% agree with you on that.
Yes, because we're educating the audience.
Yeah, absolutely.
I mean, if you will go in the most, let's say, uneducated village, people that have never listened before music, and you will give them Beethoven and Mozart, they will love it.
Of course, yeah.
Because it's the first thing that they will listen.
Yeah.
But it's much easier to create bad things because it's much. I mean, bad things, not bad. I mean, stuff that is not good because it's much easier to product them. But that's why we are responsible to make good things for the audience because we are educating them, and the audience is very clever. It's much more clever than what we believe.
No, and I mean you're right too, and I mean it's interesting how we get these swells, and I mean I love the music comparison you brought up because, I mean, okay, there's nothing wrong with the pop this or the K-pop or the music or this. Like if people love it, fine, that's great. But it doesn't devalue the Beethoven and the Mozart, and to be able to, it's so important to be able to have those swings to sort of remind audiences. It's like, no, okay, this is here, but no, remember this is going on over here. Let's do that too, you know.
Exactly, and we need that.
For sure, man.
We
No, I
need
mean,
that.
this is a silly question, but I mean, just to start putting a bow on this. Whenever I get to talk to filmmakers like you, I mean, obviously, most of us in this business come to it as fans first. what were the movies that you saw as a young man that made you want to start making that investment and really start being a storyteller?
When I was 14, the movie that made me to want to be a filmmaker, I remember it still when I watched it on cinema, it was The Truman Show. I love that film so much because I think that it's a movie with the perfect balance between melancholy and comedy, between how you can create a world but also create it very grounded, how you can make a conceptual story but telling the story through character. So it had all these great balances for me that's what exactly I'm looking to conceptual stories to make. And I was so fascinated, I said, okay, I want to tell stories like that. And I was always, I think that since 16 I started writing crazy scripts like this. Yes, that was always the idea, how we can make films like that. And of course I have favorite filmmakers like Bresson, Cassavetes, I love Carax, I love Godard. But I also love a lot the Charlie Kaufman stories. I love a lot the narrative cinema. I love Mike Mills. Mike Mills is one of my favorite filmmakers.
Oh my
of the
God,
last
yeah,
decade.
Mike Mills, so underrated, yeah.
He's the most underrated filmmaker. I mean, what he did, for example, in Beginners is probably my favorite movie of the last decade. What he did in Beginners,
That movie's so genius, yeah.
he's a genius. He's a really, and he's also the nicest guy if you will meet him in person. So I hope that they will give him the chance to make more and more and more films.
For sure, man. But I mean, I hope they give you the chance to make more and more films, because I love that you brought up Truman Show, because it goes back to your point about wanting to make something timeless. And I mean, that plays, I mean, it's the 25th anniversary this year, and I mean, that plays so beautifully now. And it still plays. And I mean, I think your film is going to have a chance to play on those kind of levels even 25 years down the line. I think it's one of those movies that really has that chance to capture that zeitgeist and sort of really dissect the silliness of trying to quantify love, because we do live in such a day and age where it's, you want the tactile, you want the quantifiable, the discernible, but when it comes to emotions like that, you kind of have to throw the rule book out the window and just go with your gut. And I mean, it's just an amazing thing to see, and I think you've really captured something with this film. But honestly, my friend, thank you for the time today, and thank you so much for the work.
Thank you so much. Really, I really appreciate it. I really appreciate your kind words. I really hope that you love the film.
And don't forget to visit our friends over at Bay Street Video for all your DVD, Blu-ray rental, or purchasing needs this summer, as they are still open for curbside and some mailing delivery as well. Over at 1172 Bay Street, Toronto, Ontario, Canada, you can give them a call at 416-964-9088. That's 416-964-9088. Or send them an email at baystreetvideoto@gmail.com for any of your DVD and Blu-ray needs.